Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm especially excited that you're here because we are celebrating something big today. But before we get into that, I do want to address the elephant in the room. I sound rough right now. I do not sound like my normal self. I am currently recovering from the January 2026 start of the year flu. So I'm on the mend. I'm feeling better. I tried to wait as long as I could so that my voice could get back to normal, but alas, this is what we're left with. So thank you for your patience and understanding. Now back to it. Today, I am so excited because we are celebrating. If you listened to an episode around this time of year last year, you'll know what's coming. Today is my 2-year sober-versary, my sober anniversary. I've been sober for 2 years as of today. I'm so excited, and I'm excited that I get to celebrate here with you. So today's episode, I am revealing the 5 things that I've learned 2 years into being sober. And to kind of kick it off, it's something that's been bouncing around in my head since I was sober 2 years ago. There's a quote by Homer Simpson. I did not watch The Simpsons growing up, but I know many of you did. And there's a quote by Homer Simpson that says, "Here's to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems." And honestly, relatable. Because when I was drinking, alcohol did cause many of my problems. And also seemed to be a solution to a lot of those problems that I was having. But alas, I learned that it was not. After all this time, I've been in therapy for a year. I now know that alcohol is not the solution. And having been sober for 2 years, I absolutely know that alcohol is not the solution to any of the problems that I thought that it was solving. So now to get into it, the 5 things that I've learned 2 years into being sober. The first thing that I've learned is that, and this is, you might laugh, it hasn't really felt easier. And I still get triggered. And I still have FOMO. I still get the fear of missing out, which can be really challenging. When I when I was in college, that was the my biggest time when I was drinking. And there is a song that is still on my workout playlist today because man, it gets me hyped. Um, if you're older and you listen to this podcast, you might not know who this is or what the song is. If you're my age, if you're in your 30s, Fetty Wap was my jam in college. And that was the song, the biggest party song that I could think of. And sometimes I'll still hear that song when I'm driving down the road, windows down, music blaring, that song pops on, and I'm like, oof, nothing sounds better right now than a drink while listening to this song. I never cave, I never get a drink, but it still gives me that feeling of, oh man, that was such a good time. Man, it really evokes this sense of like I feel like I need to have a drink in my hand, which is not super healthy. But it comes with the memories. So it does give me that fear of missing out. I do remember the fun that I did have because honestly, at the time, I was having so much fun. It just wasn't fun in a healthy way. I had a lot of memories with the friends that I had at that time. I really love dancing, a lot of adventures. You go on a lot of adventures when you're in college and you're drinking, uh, which is kind of funny to think back on because I had a friend who would go out and like steal traffic cones. And the things that we did when we were younger are just crazy. And the things that our alcohol fueled escapades were even crazier. But again, those things, they they weren't really helping us get anywhere. They weren't really doing anything positive for us. Um, so yeah, I can think back onto those moments and I can look back with a little bit of fondness and a little bit of regret depending on the situation. Um, but yeah, after 2 years, I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I yeah, I think I was expecting that it would maybe feel easier at times, but there are still days where I get the urge to wanna drink and party and get crazy, and that's just not something that I'm willing to compromise on. So yeah, if you are in a similar situation and you still feel like you're getting these triggers and you feel like, "Oh man, it's not working, I'm not fixed, I'm still broken," that is not the case at all. And, I think it's something that we're always gonna deal with, and I think that's okay. That's why we have our support people and it's why we chose, why we made the decision that we did make. The second thing that I have learned is that I have stopped caring about what other people think about me and my drinking choices. So if you follow me on social media, at Coach Abby Clapper, I I posted about it today when this episode came out, so you can see it today. You can see it whenever you're listening to this. I made a post about my soberversary, and I mentioned that when I was in high school, so I did not drink growing up. I didn't drink until I got to college. So when I was in high school, I was made fun of for not drinking, for being the odd man out, right? And then when I got to college, the pendulum swung the exact opposite way, and I went crazy. And so when I was in college, I thought that I was judged for drinking too much. And I thought, man, I really just can't win here, can I? And now that I'm 2 years sober, I do not give a crap about what anyone thinks about my drinking choices because I will confess, I'm a lifelong people pleaser. I always wanted to fit in. I didn't fit in a lot of my childhood. I was, made fun of a lot growing up in school. And so I wanted nothing more in my life than to fit in. And I think that's where a lot of the drinking in college started from, is that I just wanted to fit in with the people around me. And then it kind of grew from there. But now, if drinking means that I have to fit in, I'm with the wrong group of people. That is not something that I think is necessary anymore, which I'm so grateful for, that the people around me have accepted me and make me feel that, whatever I decide, they're going to support me. So I think that there's no better feeling than that. And I am also so confident in my decision to not drink that it gives me a real sense of freedom when you're not worried about what the people around you are thinking based on what you choose to or not to do. Incredibly freeing. Highly recommend. Don't get me wrong. Still a people pleaser. And and I'll give you an example in the next thing that I've learned, because I can still feel like a people pleaser. Don't worry, I'm in therapy. We're still working on it. But the third thing that I've learned is that I have found that there are so many alternative non-alcoholic drinks and activities that you can do. And my go-to, and I'm not sponsored by any brand, my go-to is, it's called Free Wines, FRE. It tastes like wine. It looks like wine, because I know that that is people's biggest complaint. It doesn't taste like alcohol. Okay, great. Does it need to taste like alcohol? No, but if it needs to be close, I think this is the closest that you're going to get. I used it. I had a bottle of red that we had for Christmas, that we had with a steak dinner. And then I bought a bottle of alcohol removed champagne. It was like a Brut or something. And I used that for New Year's Eve. And then I also used it to celebrate my 2 year sobriversary. So it tastes like champagne. It is a really great alternative. And I know there are so many other non-alcoholic brands. One of my friends recommended one to me. I forgot what it was, but it's on my list to check out. Thank you, Lydia. And then I will say, I have tried a non-alcoholic liquor like replacement. So bad. It was like a non-alcoholic rum. Terrible. Even if you mixed it with something, still so bad. So I don't recommend that. But the thing that I have found with finding these non-alcoholic beverages, NA wines, NA beers, is it helps me feel so included still in what's going on around me, right? So this is where the people pleasing piece of it comes in for me, because I still want to feel included. Even if people around me are drinking, totally fine. I'm okay with that. But as long as I can hold something in my hand, as long as I can have a cup, a glass, something to make me feel like I'm a part socially of what's happening around me, I will be a-okay. What I am realizing is that when I got to college, when everyone was holding on to a drink, well, I wanted to hold on to a drink. And because I was in a situation where I get kind of nervous, maybe a little social anxiety, I was chugging, right? So I'm a nervous drinker, but it doesn't really matter what's in my hand. I'm going to nervous drink whatever it is. So at the time, it was alcohol. But now I'm still going to nervous drink, but now it's a non-alcoholic beverage, or it's a club soda, or it's a water, whatever it is. I can still be a part of it in a healthy way, right? So if I go to an event, I'll bring, a bottle of alcohol removed wine, or an alcohol removed champagne if we're going to celebrate something, so that I can still participate, which is great. And I think it's a really great way to, again, to still feel like you're participating, because if I have a glass and I fill it with some non-alcoholic wine, and I drink 3 glasses, I am going to feel great the next day, right? Not going to have a hangover. Unlike anyone else who's going to drink 3 glasses, maybe 3 glasses, I don't know what tolerance people have, but 3 glasses of wine, and then you wake up with a headache. So even you don't even have to be sober if you're even just health conscious and want to wake up with the energy to go do your workouts the next day. NA wines are a fabulous alternative. NA anything, honestly. Say that 10 times fast. NA anything. But the non-alcoholic beers, I do find that they still make you feel kind of full, kind of bloaty, but again, you're not waking up feeling sick over it. So I don't know. Food for thought. That was number 3 of the things that I've learned. Number 4 on my list. I have found that a lot of other people's lives revolve around alcohol. And that doesn't necessarily need to affect my life, right? So if you go back to episode 9, when I recorded it last year, we talked about how in the media and just in society, so many people are drinking. In TV shows, in songs, they're singing about drinking. On TV shows, moms, dads, everybody, kids, everybody's got a cup of something at a party and everybody's always drinking, or that's how they unwind at the end of the day. And having to shift my perspective a little bit as to what that looks like for me has been a big piece of it, especially at the beginning. But now I'm noticing, because I'm very upfront with people about my sobriety. I talk about it. I'll talk about it to anybody who will listen if it comes up in conversation. And I find that the people around me will ask if they can drink around me. If I'm out and someone knows that I'm sober, or, I met a new group of friends and one of them knew that I was sober and they said, "Hey, is it okay if we drink? Is that going to bother you?" And I think that is so incredibly kind and caring that people want to ask that. And I think it's also very important because there are people in their sobriety journeys who it is going to affect more than others. I feel very confident in my decision that I'm okay if people are drinking around me. I know I mentioned at the top of the show that I still get FOMO sometimes, but it depends on the situation, right? If I'm out to a happy hour and I go into this happy hour fully knowing, fully expecting what's going to happen, I can prepare myself. I have, the time to think through, process my thoughts and my emotions, and go into it thinking it's okay if other people are drinking around me, and it's okay that I don't. And I still think that it's so kind that there are people who are thinking about it and want to ask. I definitely am okay when, if my friends want to drink around me, if we go out to a lunch and someone wants to drink, does not bother me at all. But I do always find it, I'm always feel so loved when my friends think of me and ask. And I think it is something to be aware of if you do know someone who is in recovery, going through sobriety, and just making sure that they are okay in that situation, because all of us are going to handle it differently, and it's just something nice to be aware of. Something really cool that I have learned through all of this is under the same umbrella, about people's lives revolving around alcohol. My husband and I have been checking out some new churches in the area, and we have found that we really like a couple of the Methodist churches. And when we started going to the Methodist churches, when we started going to the churches in general, I found that I was having a little bit of a crisis, because we started out going to, I think we went to an Episcopal church, and I freaked out because I grew up non-denominational. I went to a church where all they served was grape juice. And all of a sudden we're at a church where they are serving wine for communion. And I started having this little internal panic attack, like, oh my gosh, do I need to choose between my sobriety and, this action of faith that I've been doing my whole life? What does this look like? What do I do? And I found that it was actually a very difficult thing to try and process. Now, thankfully, I'll say thankfully, we are not Episcopalian, so we actually ended up not being able to take communion there. So ended up crisis averted. But it did make me think, at any other church that we went to, is it going to be wine? Is it going to be grape juice? And my sweet husband, whenever we went to a new church, would ask, one of the ushers before, he would say, "Hey, is this wine? Is this grape juice?" And just so that we knew ahead of time and I could make my decision. Then that led us to, we ended up finding some Methodist churches that we really liked. And as we got into the Methodist church, we found out that they only offer grape juice and that they don't offer wine. And this is because John Wesley, who kind of founded the whole Methodist movement, intentionally had communion be with grape juice because he knew that there were people struggling with sobriety, and he didn't want communion to be a pain point or a source of someone returning to drinking because of coming up for communion and having it be wine. So that was something that I was like blown away. I was like, okay, wow, this is actually so cool and so thoughtful that this this denomination, this guy and his way of thinking, we're really looking out for people who are sober and want to stay sober and continue in that commitment. So anyways, that was a little thing that I learned. Thought it was super cool. Want to share it with you. And now moving on to the fifth thing that I have learned. Okay, let's be honest. I've probably learned a little bit more than that, but 5 is a good number for a podcast of things that we want to learn, right? The fifth thing that I have learned in my 2 years of sobriety, I think that more people are choosing sobriety and are choosing to drink less. Now, this is what I've seen. I know, we've talked about algorithms before, and the algorithm is going to bring you what you are into. But what I've seen on social media is that the number of people who are drinking has decreased. The alcohol sales have decreased. And honestly, I'm here for it. Like, I am so excited. I've seen that the newer generations, the younger generations, are choosing not to drink or smoke as much. And I think that is really cool. It's really encouraging to me as someone who is sober. And I think it brings like a lot of hope that as we move forward, maybe more people's lives will start to not revolve around alcohol so much, and our society can kind of heal a little bit and get away from, drinking, smoking, those kinds of things are what's going to bring us peace and, help us take a load off at the end of the day. And that's just something that I think is really cool. But yeah, I also would encourage you, if this is the first time that you're hearing me talk about sobriety, I would so encourage you to go back and listen to episode 9. It's kind of my origin story about why I decided to go sober. I explain sobriety and sober curiosity and what that could maybe look like for you if you've toyed with the idea, or if it's something that you're looking for support in. And you can also go over to my social media. I talk about it kind of frequently. I'm posting things on my stories about it because I always, if there's someone out there who's thinking about it and just needs that extra little nudge, it's like when I post about fitness content. Sometimes I learned from one of my old managers, someone needs to hear something 9 times before they make a decision on it. And given the current situation in the world and everything, like, I don't think anyone's talking about stopping drinking. So if I can be that person to spur someone on to making a decision to living a healthier, happier life without alcohol or with less alcohol, I am all here for that. So on that note, I want to thank you all so much for being here with me, to celebrate with me, for all of you who have supported me through this. My support system is so strong, and those of us who choose to be sober, we cannot do it alone. We absolutely need each and every one of you. If we did it alone, it wouldn't be happening. So that is probably one of the biggest takeaways, is if you know someone who has chosen to be sober or who is in recovery, we need you more than you know. And your support means everything. We could just not be more grateful for all of you. And if this is something that resonates with you, and if you have a story about your own sobriety that you want to share, I would love to hear it. I am here for you. I am here for anyone who has a story to share about your sobriety. I love it. I'm your biggest cheerleader when it comes to sobriety, when it comes to fitness. I'm here for it all. All right. If you want to head over to my social media, I'm Coach Abby Clapper on Facebook and Instagram. I would love to connect with you if we're not connected already. And if you are sticking around, I will look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Talk Your Abs Off.